Hello, it's me again, and my story today is a little more personal, a little more about me. Now, I don't know if you guys are on my other account, but I'm bisexual, and on my other account, I had asked a girl out. And this is kind of the story behind how I met her and how we kind of evolved. We're going to call her friend A because I don't know if she's comfortable with all this. But me and friend A were at this party for my friends. My other friends, like my buddies, my guy friends. And they always invite me to these kind of things, even though they know that they're not. So I'm probably not going to date any of them or any of that. But they invited me to one, and one of my friends had invited friend A over. And they went in around 6, and her ride wasn't coming until like 11, so we hung out and we talked for a while, and we were like flirting and doing stuff like that and talking about everything, and she talked about how she was bi-curious. And before this point, I really didn't know that you could be bi. I didn't know that it was a thing. I mean, I could look at another girl and think, yeah, she's pretty, and I could appreciate that. But I never really thought that that would be a thing for me, and I guess she's the one that changed it all for me. I mean, we flirted, and and she was so shy. Friend A I would be sitting there and I'm talking to her, and she was so very shy that she was on my Wi-Fi and was texting me using Messenger, because we were friends on Facebook, and texting me because she was so shy she couldn't even say anything. And now she lived further away, so I didn't really get to see her for a while, well, not far away, but not in my city, so we didn't get to see each other often. But we would talk on Facebook, and we talked for a while. And I always had I've been that person that always had a boyfriend or something, except until recently, and you'll understand that later in the story. Anyway, so I always had a boyfriend, but we were always kind of still kind of talking-ish, a little thing, not really flirting as much, but still talking. And then eventually I realized that I was kind of leading her on, and I didn't want to lead her on, because I did like her. It's just that I only had a boyfriend or something, and I didn't want to be that person that was leading her on, because that's just wrong, and I don't understand why people do that. So eventually I was I was single for just a day, and I'm like, hey, friend A, do you want to go out? Will you be my girlfriend? And she said yes, and we were very different. See, I'm the type of person, I'm very excitable. I have ADHD, so I'm very excitable, very distracted. You've probably noticed I'll look at something over there and not pay attention to the camera. I'm very distractible. But she had a very high temper. But it wasn't like she got mad and hit me or anything, but it was just kind of she would sulk a little bit if I was not paying attention or something. And I guess that was sort of my fault. And one day, she has a lot wrong with her. Friend A had a lot going on and a lot different with her. Her dad was dying, and she was going through a really rough time, and she really needed me. And one day, I had come home from school, and she asked me if I still loved her or were the fields just gone. And I let her down. I said that I still had feelings for her, but maybe not in that way anymore, which was probably the worst thing I could have said to her, and I felt so damn bad, and I let her down so badly, and I still feel bad about it today. And the story still goes on. We didn't quite end there. We still kind of talked a little bit. Normally it was hey, or stuff like that, until actually what made it worse was I dated one of her exes a few days after, because he was asking me out while we were dating, and I'm like, I can't do that and anything. He was asking me out. So when we broke up, I said yes. And that didn't last either. It was over in a few weeks. You'll hear that in a different story. Anyway, and she got really, really offended by that I dated one of her exes. She thought that I had dumped her for him, and I didn't. I just didn't. She had trust issues, and I felt like she wasn't trusting me enough, and I left. And I shouldn't have done that because she was just broken, and I'm just as broken as she is now. And then not a few months later, about a month later, I texted her, and I was so guilty, and I felt so bad. And I said, can we please get back together? Can we try this again? And when I left, she said that I was going to come crying back to her, and she was 100% right. And I said that, and I'm like, you were 100% right, and I'm so sorry. Can we please get back together, friend A? I almost said her name there for a second. And we talked for a while. She said that she just got out of a relationship and that she wasn't ready for a new one yet. And I respected that. I'm like, okay, but we can still talk, right? She's like, oh yes, of course. And she came over one day with her friend. We'll call her friend C because her name begins with a C. With her friend, and we were like talking and everything, and she gave me like a kiss on the cheek, and we were kind of flirting and everything. And she went home eventually. I got in trouble. My family, bad situation, we'll talk about that another time. And I went inside and we talked for a while, I guess, and then we texted a little bit, and then she went home. And it's actually a really hard story to tell. I don't know why I picked this one. We talked and we flirted, and I would say sweet things to her. I have tons of poems written for her. I have a book about this thick of poems for Angel. Fudge, I said her name. Well, anyway, moving on. And I was just so taken by this beautiful girl, and she didn't believe that she was beautiful. She thought that she was ugly. And my birthday was coming up. My birthday's May 14th, and it was coming up, and I texted her. I'm like, hey, are you going to come over for my birthday? She's like, oh, okay, and everything. And then I couldn't come because I had to work on my birthday, and it was the worst birthday ever, and we'll talk about that later again. And it'll come up in this story. And I texted her on the day after my birthday, and I texted her. I'm like, hey, what's up? And I would call her. I was still flirting, so I'd still call her baby and stuff like that, and flirt. And it wasn't Angel that responded. It was her girlfriend. And she said, hey, I'm her girlfriend, can you please refrain from calling her baby and flirting and stuff like that? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know she had a girlfriend. How long have you two been dating? And they got together on my birthday, and that's why she didn't talk to me at all on my birthday. And I just felt so terrible, and I was so mind-ridden, and I'm like, how could she do this to me? And I let it go. But I still talk to her. We dated for about 7 weeks, maybe, when we were together. So, for 7 weeks, she felt that I didn't give her enough love or anything while we were dating, or affection and attention. So for 7 weeks I gave her that sort of affection and attention. I was very sweet, and she never said anything else. She would say ah, or hey, or yeah, that's nice, and stuff like that, but not really anything to me, which is understandable because she had a girlfriend and I wasn't her. And one night my friend Marissa texted me. She said Angel was suicidal, and she texted me and she said that I think that she might have jumped. And you have no idea how much that scared me. And I called her several times. I called her 18 times, I think, and she just didn't answer. I left crying voice messages. I was bawling, please just pick up the phone. I was out of my mind. I felt sick to my stomach, and I just felt like I was going to die too if she was gone. So you could understand how attached I was to this person, how much I really, really needed the affection of this person. And it just scared me, and I woke up my whole family, and they were so worried about me. And it's another story I will tell in another time. And she woke up the next morning and asked me what was so wrong. And all this time I thought that she wanted more affection and everything, and apparently me showing my affection when I thought she was dead, she mistook that as creepy. And we would still talk a little bit, and I would try to make her happy when she was sad, because I never wanted to see her sad, because when she was sad, I was sad. And that was just the worst thing in the world for me, to see her hurt and see her with this person that made her feel worse. And my sister told me that I should leave it alone, I should stop, because she obviously does not reciprocate my feelings. And I didn't listen. I thought that if I waited long enough, she would come, and I would be happy again. And then one day I went on my Instagram, and now she did something real sweet for her girlfriend, but it kind of tore me apart inside. But I guess that's how all things go. Someone's getting left in the dark and hurt. She had posted a video of there's like a little montage telling her little story, and at the end of it, it said, "And I will never leave you." And now, through all the times that she had talked to me about how much they fought and how much they argued and how miserable she was, I always thought that I would have my chance again. And that never happened for me. It stopped happening. And I texted her. I said, I did my normal thing. I was like, "Hey." She's like, "Oh, hi." And I was like, I should stop texting, shouldn't I? She said, "I don't care. Go ahead and leave." And I said, that's exactly what I was afraid of, that you would let me go that easily. And then I told her not to hesitate to text me if she was single, and then I said goodbye. And I guess what hurt me the most was that she blocked me on Facebook afterwards. And that kind of stung just a little bit, because I didn't get to see any of her photos, and I couldn't text to her anymore. And as I'm letting go of her more and trying to move on, she likes my photos on Instagram and the stuff that says "I'm still in love with you," and me expressing how much pain I'm really having, and she's liking it, and it's just like her name popping up in my newsfeed is just tearing me apart. And I really don't think she notices how much it's hurting me and how much I am regretting all of this, and I don't think she cares anymore. And I realize this is probably the most emotional story that I've ever told on here, and I'm a little bit sorry, but I needed it to be told, and she needs to know what it is. Until then, farewell, and I hope you enjoyed it.